Mm. All right. So, I hope you guys have had an incredible week, and I missed you guys last week. It's great to see you, Nick, Don. So great to see you. First time here, Don. Welcome. So happy to have you here. Liza G, where are you guys from? Tell me where you guys are from. Ursula, Kimberly, Von Coots, welcome, my dear. And I just sent out a little notice, so I'm sure people will be trickling in. All right, guys, so let's get started. It's been a very, very exciting week, right, with everything that's happened. And so today's live is going to be primarily talking about all the work that you and I are doing here together. And what I really want to take a look at is our divinity. I think one of the questions that I've had more come up most in the past week was looking at the aspects of divine. What is it that makes us divine? Why are we divine? How do we embody that divinity? Or how do we know that we are this divine essence? And so this is something that it's innate to us. It's an innate aspect of ourselves. And it just takes a matter of, once again, deprogramming all of the limiting beliefs that has kept us away from that embodiment. That's really all there is. And our divinity is encoded in every aspect of our biology, psychology, in the etheric body, in the energy body. And so we'll talk about that today, how that is. Just share this, make sure people are coming in. And how we hold our divinity, how we hold more and more who we really are, is essentially how you come into this authentic self, this pure whole self, which is always in you. It's always accessible. It's always the essence of what you are. And so, a couple of things that emerge when we remember that divinity. First of all, in the process of finding that divinity, asking the right questions is really important. And one thing that I want to mention that has come up a lot in my sessions this week is primarily asking, is it true, right? And the kind of truth that we're looking for is not just a temporary truth of, immediately what's going on, because many things can be true simultaneously, because we are existing in many paradoxes, right? But that's the key, that as you learn to expand your perception larger and larger and larger, what you see as truth is also expanding. Your perception is expanding. And so your ability to actually observe broader truths is one of the aspects of this divine self, because it is all encompassing. It is expanding your capacity from just looking at small concepts of victimization, loneliness, separation, right? Think everything compartmentalized and separate, and the ability to expand the range of your perception to see everything as whole. So the whole picture. And this requires a couple things: a regulation of your nervous system, the ability to understand and feel fully your emotions, acknowledge your emotions, acknowledge your intentions behind what you're doing, and the feelings, the emotions that come up that are being triggered by that require a lot of honesty and really deep understanding and seeing yourself for what it is that you really require. And that's actually something that we've been deprogrammed from doing, because we've become desensitized to our own suffering. We've become desensitized to our truth. We've become desensitized to what it really means to live in peace, right? Because some of us have never known that. We've never touched the feeling of peace before, never experienced harmony, true harmony, never experienced unconditional love, never experienced compassion, perhaps. Okay, so it's interesting that when you're in the awakening process, everything looks quite compartmentalized, everything looks quite separate, different parts. And what happens is we have a really hard time merging the spiritual aspect with the physical life, right? Your everyday activities, what you're doing, your job, your career, your family, your friends, your relationships, everything feels very separate. And so that's one of the first steps into this process, is that we begin to unify the spiritual with the material, which is, of course, the alchemical marriage. And that alchemical marriage you're experiencing on many different levels. So at first, we don't know how to embody the spiritual self in our everyday life. And so that this is where we need to understand the value of that spiritual aspect. And that again is part of this desensitization process, that you don't really understand what it means to embody your own divinity, your whole authenticity, and why that's so important. So part of the things that we're going to talk about today is why that's so important. The embodiment of this aspect is the opening into your self-healing capacities, for example, because one of the most healing aspects of ourselves psychologically is truth, being able to handle truth, embody truth, witness truth within yourself and around you, and the ability to process truth through your body, because we might be in resistance to seeing ourselves outside of the box of what we've designed for our perception of ourselves. So that's something that has to be gently broken through, compassionately, that you can see yourself more truthfully each time. And that really means more wholly, more complete. See yourself complete, see your flaws, see your positive things, see the aspects of yourself that are damaging, contracting, blocking. And this is where we start to really shift and open up the energy pathways in the body as well, because every single one of these belief systems, again, is an energy that is stuck within the field. And so you are activating not only your perception of yourself, but you're also expanding your range of vibrational frequency, where you can see your whole self. And this is, of course, where intuitive capacities now come into play. The process of accessing your own truth is allowing you to access broader perceptions, which allow you to expand your senses, right? Because in the process of understanding your emotions, feeling fully your emotions, you're actually training your intuition, because it's through the emotional body that you train your intuition. The key is the learning how to master the emotional body. If we don't know how to master the emotional body, this is where we start to, again, we block off entire areas of information, because imagine the emotional spectrum as a rainbow, and every single emotion is important. And I notice this a lot in my practice, that people are great at naming out the negative emotions, sometimes, but when it comes to the positive emotions, it's like they just want to power through them because they feel insignificant. They feel like they're not that important. But in reality, to truly sit with every emotion that you feel in the body is to understand layers of yourself, to understand how you even understand that emotion. Does the way that you express that emotion, feel that emotion, believe you need to respond to that emotion? Is that rooted in an ultimate truth, or is that rooted in survival mechanisms that we've kind of adopted, so from childhood, from our parents, that we've inherited and in our society, right? Because we are usually a product of a lot of constructs and playing out of those constructs. So let me take a look here, because I want to share a couple aspects of this concept of divinity. One of the main aspects of divinity is that we start to understand ourselves as the all. And the process of understanding yourself as the all is the activation of higher faculties. So this is continuing what I was just saying. And the result of the activation of higher faculties is creating a certain DMT inside of the brain, right? This spiritual substance that allows you to see beyond the physical. So this is where we start to, and the purpose of that is not to see, incredible things that you've never seen before. The purpose of this DMT substance in the pineal gland that is produced by long-term meditation is the ability to see the memories, expand your memories, especially in your childhood. Okay, because a lot of the memories and a lot of people that have experienced trauma, they don't remember and they don't want to remember, or they cannot remember. They have large blocks of memory from their childhood that they blocked out completely. And so when we're doing healing sessions, they feel like they can't go back to that emotion or that memory to work with any of that. But actually, it is all there for you. It's just taking a look at what was the main theme of the emotion in your childhood. Okay, so for example, you could say, well, I just remember feeling lonely all the time, or lonely a lot, or abandoned all the time, or just not having someone there, feeling cold in the body. Even those physical sensations are entryways into the memory, into the morphogenetic memory system, bioelectrical system through that sensation. Okay, because the sensations in the body are holding memories, and they're little gateways into those streams of memory. And it's super important because when you expand on that little tiny one emotion or one thought that you've felt throughout your entire childhood, now you start to unpack those memories. Now you begin to access them. And the use of that kind of memory is the activation and the growing of this specific chemical combinations that we begin to create in the brain as a result of long sustained meditation, right? So in meditating many hours in a day, like when hopefully you are able to cultivate a strong practice of at least an hour meditation a day, that hour meditation is where you begin to start growing gray matter in the brain, and you begin to regulate the nervous system. The structure of your bioelectrical geometry starts to come more into harmonic order because you're bringing the brain into alpha state. Okay, so bringing the brain into alpha state is a product of the regulation of the nervous system. And from there, energy pathways finally start to open up. This is where the memory becomes available. DNA begins to come out from its contracted coiling, and we can begin to move the energy in the body. Okay, so for those of you that strive to have activated intuition, this is a byproduct of this kind of emotional work. Okay, so when you come to learn how to activate your intuition, one of the strongest, long sustaining ways to activate the intuition is by working with the emotional body, by getting to know all the ranges of that rainbow. Because again, when you feel an emotion, you understand certain levels of perception, which you can then identify in your environment. You can identify that. And so remember that everything around you is a mirror to the things that you're experiencing and feeling, and they will reflect back what is important for you to observe and know about yourself. It's always going to be the trigger that you're presented with. So whatever is triggering you is exactly what is needed to be worked on. So every day is an opportunity for us to wake up and come into full awareness in the body and begin to observe those little triggers that come up, those triggers that are coming up. Okay. So let me come over here because I want to share some slides, but I also want to find a couple of important questions. And again, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the capital letters in the chat, and I'll be super happy to answer them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so somebody asked about, there's a lot of reports about the Atlas, and some of those reports are generated by AI, but this new time that Earth and its people are entering, how is the day-to-day life going to be different than what we are all experiencing now? Is it a gradual integration, or is it going to be done in a matter of hours or weeks? That's John. Okay, so yeah, I've been getting this question in different ways a lot over the past couple of weeks. So you see, even though I've discussed the three-eye atlas, what I know to be true is that this is just, it's an expansion of the range of visible light. The fact that all humans on planet are aware of the three-eye atlas and this object moving through our space. There's always lots of objects moving through the solar system, but this is a large mass. It's a very interesting structure of light, and the speed is unique. It's a unique frequency that has entered into the body of the solar system. When we have things like this entering into the body of the solar system, we're also experiencing that on a physical level because we are a fractal of the solar system. And so what we're really looking at is how we process these shifts and these new energies that enter into our space. It's kind of a reminder and kind of a call to action in terms of what is coming in the next few years. Okay, in the next couple of years, we are entering into this new era. This is just a manifestation of this new era that is the beginning of many of these kinds of visitations, interactions that we have, because internally we're beginning to enter into a higher range of frequency, higher range of visible spectrum, a higher octave. And we're going to be embodying that incrementally, depending on how you are incrementally allowing yourself to embody that. And so the embodiment of the new era is really all about the expansion of your frequency. Okay, how do you expand your range of frequency? The difficulty with talking about these topics is that a lot of people hear what I say and then they say, oh, that's the goal. I'm going to make that the goal, is the raising of my frequency in that way. And none of these one separate parts is the goal. If you're on the spiritual journey, as I mentioned before, your pursuit is either truth or love. That's the pursuit. You're either seeking for truth or love. If your pursuit is intuitive capacities, ability to heal yourself or others, you're on the path for an incomplete reason. And usually that spiritual ego will emerge from those desires and those pursuits. And the invitation is really to come into that 0 point of exploration, of curiosity, where you can explore many facets of yourself. You become an investigator of yourself. You learn how you function. You learn about your thoughts. You learn about your emotions. You learn how to meet your needs. And from there, you are molding your frequency while it's expanding. Okay, you are discarding the layers that don't serve you anymore, which allow you to expand into a more broader perception of yourself and the world and everything around you. And this is the practical embodiment of love, because love is all-encompassing. Love is not an emotion. Love is an entire structure of light in the body that is created by the expansion of that awareness, the expansion of consciousness. So let me open the PowerPoint now, and we're just going to jump into some slides. So to answer your question, it's going to be an incremental transformation that we're going through. Again, how you allow yourself to hold light in the body is how you are going to perceive the coming shifts of this new era. If you are not meditating, meditation is going to be a key element to the work, because again, bringing your body into alpha state, bringing your body in alignment and harmony, vibrational frequency with the earth. So grounding, connecting down to the center of the earth, is you connecting with the vibrational frequency of the earth, which allows access to broader ranges of frequency. Not only solar system frequency, but universal frequency as well. And so we are looking to embody a body of light that is self-organizing, coming back into harmonic order. Coming back into harmonic order means that we allow ourselves to come back into this self-organizing system. And the only way to come back into that self-organizing system is by your authentic self, the true authentic self. The authentic essence of yourself is always in self-organizing harmony. But we impede that harmony by trying to manipulate, resist, block out aspects, whole aspects of yourself, your shadows, your darkness, your imperfections, your whatever you believe is not good about yourself, impurities, all of these concepts. And this is psychological, energetic, physical, emotional, okay? All of the spectrum of who your multidimensionality is affected by resistance. So the invitation is to take a look at where your resistance to your authenticity is, and to embody such a level of observation in your body that you observe where you're holding that resistance. So right now, just take a look at your body right now. As you're watching, the screen, what part of your body is contracted right now? What part of the body are you not even paying attention to right now? You are a system of consciousness, and we believe that wherever our attention is, that's the only thing that's real, the only thing that's important. To expand your vibrational capacity, you would also have to expand your awareness. Your awareness can no longer be just in the first foot of your head, your face, and whatever is in the reach of your eye vision, your line of vision. That's extremely contracted. And the biological side effect of that is that the rest of your body is abandoned. There's no awareness there. Yesterday, I had a question in our class. We did a hypnotherapy, group hypnosis, that was asking, how do you explain linear timeline and simultaneous timelines, right? That you say that time is simultaneous, everything is happening at the same time. The only thing that's real is where your awareness is at in the moment. At all times. That's the only thing that's real. That's the weird thing and the beauty of this holographic system of co-creation. The only thing that's real is where your awareness is focused. The past is not real. The future is not real. It's not accessible. It is accessible, if you enter into that frequency like a radio station. But it's not real here in the physical. Okay, and it also can change. That's the thing, it can change. The past can change, and so can the future. And when I mean the past can change, what I mean is the effects of that past experience. Your perception of that past experience can change, which can change the effects of that past experience in the moment. And it can also affect those involved in the experiences. Okay, because what happens in DNA reprogramming when you start to work with a person of your past, let's say, this is you're having some memories of childhood traumas, and whatever happened to yourself in that experience whatever happened to yourself in that experience is memorizing and remembering things through the energy body based on your perception at that time. And your perception at that time may have been very limited. You may have been a child that was in the care of this parent, for example. And so you don't have the tools to understand, your power, or understand how to differentiate your own emotions from your parents' emotions. And so you take on their emotions of fear, right? Intimidation. Maybe they got angry at us. And so we took all of that into us, and we believe that to be true. So you can go back to that child and you can observe what they're feeling. you can very clearly observe that the emotions they took on are not their true emotions. And you can begin to observe the essence of that child. Maybe the essence of that child took this experience. Maybe they were playing with something before the parent got angry, and they were just being creative and exploring and feeling joy and harmony in that moment. That is your true essence. And the thing is that we hold profound wisdom in ourselves innately. In every stage of your life, no matter what stage of your life you're in, you have held, and you had innate wisdom. But what we are indoctrinated with as very social, interactive, sensitive, multidimensional organisms with nervous systems and emotions and fears and the sensation of the separation the moment you leave the womb, it's very raw. So we, as children, we're not separate from the parent. In fact, we look to them to feel, to know what to feel. But innately, you have a profound wisdom of what is right. And I have seen this over the 20 years that I'm working in therapy, hypnotherapy, DNA reprogramming. It is the most magical, beautiful representation of your innate divinity, proof of your divinity that I have seen. That your inner child always has the true wisdom and the true knowing. And you are right. You always know what is in harmonic order. You always know what is true love. You know when a parent that is contracting or rejecting is not in harmony with what is truly correct in that moment or in alignment with harmonic order. So again, we're returning back to that innate wisdom. And so when people come and they say, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm a disaster, I'm a failure, I've not achieved anything, I'm unworthy. These are adopted belief systems. They are false constructs. And so, as I was mentioning about the time, if you take this child and expand on that feeling of joy that they were feeling in that moment, that presence that they were feeling while they were playing, it could be that that little child grew up with some, asthma, for example, as a result of this one experience. Okay. And so what will happen is that, the DNA, because you are able to embody a different range of emotion, you go back to that child, you expand that emotion in that child. The parent, you can also see how the parent would change. That when the child expands their wisdom and their innate knowing, the parent also begins to recognize what is back in harmonic order. They snap out of their state. And so what happens in the field to that person today, if they're still living, is that the other person will have flashes of memories of that experience. When you are working in meditation with these memories, and you alchemize a certain emotion, the other person will have flashes of that memory, sensations of that time, memories of that emotion that they felt at that time. Now, this is none of our business because we can't control that or do anything about that. But it's very interesting because, I've experimented that over the past 20 years, that after someone clears a trauma with that childhood trauma, for example, that parent will call them and they'll say, I was just thinking the other day about this. And it's exactly what's being worked on in that meditation. Okay. But again, I share these things with caution because that is not the goal. But it's for you to understand that everything that you do in your meditations, the alchemy of your work is affecting the morphogenetic field. It's affecting your DNA, which is the source blueprint of all your human interactions. And the change of your frequency is not just conceptual, put a smile on your face. This is the real change of frequency. The real change of frequency is the deep internal alchemy and reintegration of those fractals of yourself. The reintegration means that this little child wakes up its consciousness to its true power in that moment of disempowerment. And so now you've changed the color of this frequency, can be maybe a dark, deep red, sluggish brown color. You cleaned it up into maybe a violet color or a golden color. Okay, so we're talking about the speed of frequency. Every single color has a certain wave band. So this frequency of this child now is moving faster, and you have opened an entire memory cord to this aspect of yourself. More memories will come up. This is how you expand blocked memory of trauma as a child. So if you guys have a lot of blocked areas of your memory, and again, when we're looking at these experiences, we're investigating, and we are looking at it with the first 3 chakras closed, top 3 open. Okay? Why? Because again, your first 3 chakras are your interface to the emotional, physical, material world. For most of us, those first 3 chakras are way overactive. So we have no control of our emotions, no control of our perceptions. And so if you go into a meditation with those wide open, you're going to spend an hour immersed in the emotions, stuck, feeling those really strong emotions, coming filled with memories of traumas, and you're going to get lost in those memories. Okay, so how to work with that is we create the 0 point in the body. We are spiritually, it's the spiritual anatomy of the 0 point is to close the first 3 chakras. You're shrinking them like the aperture of a camera. You're not turning them off. You're not stopping them. You're just shrinking them. And so what happens is that it quiets the static of those overactive or underactive or blocked chakras so that you can see clearly, because you're now expanding your heart. You expand your heart. The entire magnetic field of the heart is expanding the range of visible capacity of light that you can see, which immediately expands memory. Okay, so that's another aspect we haven't talked about. When we go into reading state, not only are we expanding our intuitive capacities, but we're also expanding our emotional capacity, and we're also expanding memory. Because if you look at memory from the perception of the root chakra, and the root chakra is all blocked in fear, of course you're not going to see that. It's going to be invisible. You can't see that spectrum. Okay, so this is really important. This is part of the spiritual anatomy of the physical body, that you in this work, meditation, why people hate meditation or end up not wanting to continue meditation is that we're bombarded by memories, because everything that comes up for you is what you're holding and carrying with you all the time. You don't get away from that stuff. As much as you want to escape, a lot of people, they go into consuming anything, food, drugs, sex, alcohol, physical distractions, shopping, in order to avoid those emotions, which they're just storing like giant backpacks of energy in your field. And usually we end up doing exactly what is not good for you, because essentially it becomes a resonance. Okay, so they're just gigantic blocks of energy. And so when you ask someone to tune into their bubble, they can't see the back of their body. They can't see the lower half of their body. It's all blocked. So that's the vision, that's memory, that's the energy field of information. Bioelectrically, in the morphogenetic field, it's holding all that memory capacity. So again, energetic hygiene is a key to that. your capacity to move life force through the body and to feel those emotions. Okay. So this is the incremental change that we're going to see, to answer John's question, in the next 2 years. We are expanding. What's happening is that our environment is now promoting the expansion of ranges of frequency, something that we've not seen in the generations of this ancestral timeline. Never seen that. Okay. In other iterations of Earth, they have experienced this in other civilizations, yes. But in our current timeline, it's not been seen. So we are the first to experience this expansion of frequency within the construct. And so what that means for us is that more memory is going to become available, more visions into whether it's deceased ghosts, beings, entities, communication with plants, animals, communication with beings of stars, star beings, your star lineages, your ancestors is going to be available to you. And the reason why we've been working through the past 10 years, for those of you that have been with me for a long time, in unpacking ancestral trauma, is that we're preparing to embody the 0 point in this earth, in this physical body. Because what we're aiming towards and building towards is the multidimensional telepathic being that must embody its raw, authentic, full self. Because when we're telepathic and I can see right through everything, your energy body, I can see your emotions, feel your emotions, your thoughts, what you're thinking, what you're fearing. You know, this is something that we have to learn how to respect what we know in ourselves and what we see in others. Learn how to have energetic boundaries. We need to have our values really clear about free will. Because as soon as we start tuning into intuitions, we just want to go do readings for everyone. We want to go tell everyone their, past or their future. And there's a growth spurt that we need to go through, a maturing in understanding that intuitive gifts are best used for our spiritual evolution, and to be of service to others when others come to us for that support. Because when people come to you for a support, there's a resonance in frequency. And usually we've lived many lives together. Even everyone that's here on this channel with me, we have all had lives together. That's a fact. There's no question about that. Because right now we're attuning and we're coming into coherence, everyone that's here. We've all come into a container of coherence. And so we speak the same language. And so there's an innate understanding, knowing, a recognition, a remembering, all this information, you already know it. I'm just saying things you already know. And so the process of embodiment of this for this coming era is understanding to clear these blockages. And ancestral is basically just the things you're repeating in your everyday life. Okay, that's why the work is like come into awareness, be in the present moment. And, for the past year, the present moment has been really challenging for a lot of people. More challenging than ever. Why? Because it's becoming more physical. Because it's becoming more dense. And so, and what that means, what I mean by the density of that present moment, you're feeling more. You're becoming more sensitive. So the present moment feels quite full, quite overwhelming. So if the past year has been overwhelming, this coming year is going to feel overwhelming. We're going to feel even more. So regulation of your nervous system. And that's why the cultivation of the 0 point is so important from the place of non-judgment. Judgment will annihilate you. It will annihilate you because the amount of energy that is required in the body to judge something is a lot. Okay, so let me just explain that because in the energy body, when we are judging things, you are immediately connecting energetically to that thing. As soon as you, and it's such a subtle thing. The mind is so magnificent. We can have a million thoughts in 1 second. We can see a little bird out there. We can see something we didn't clean up. We can see a mess. We can see whatever it is. How many thoughts do you have in 1 second? So, you know, you can have all kinds of judgments. And what you don't know, what you don't see is energetically, every single tiny snippet, flash of a thought is an energetic cord that is attaching you to that thing, person, place, or thing. So imagine all your life force, all this beautiful energy that could be moving through your toroidal field becomes depleted, leaking energy. This is what we call the leaking of your life force that is depleted to the body. So this is why we have a very simple practice of visualizing a bubble around you. And you control what is in this bubble, and you program yourself to say, whatever does not belong to me stays out here. This is really important. It doesn't mean that you're going to become desensitized to what's happening outside of you. It doesn't mean you're going to abandon people, things. No, it means you're going to very consciously, with your awareness, choose at every moment what you're going to engage with and how. Super important, because if we have mindless thoughts just leaving the body, nobody's getting anywhere. This is like the blind leading the blind, right? Nobody knows what's up, what's down. We're all confused. And we're confused because we haven't gathered our energy within the body. So another aspect of this divinity, let's go back to that topic of divinity. Every single part of your body, every cell of your body is a fractal of the universe. Every single cell of your body. So in the same way that you're attaching yourself to the physical material world, you are also blocking yourself from greater bands of information. And so as we move into this new era, the embodiment of building your capacity to hold more information, what does that mean? I think of downloads, right? How many of you have experienced downloads? A lot of you have had downloads. And how did that feel? It was like millions of thoughts available for you in just a snippet of a second, in a flash. It's all available. The whole full information is available to you. That is higher functioning consciousness. That's higher functioning capacities. We are going to become a civilization that constantly exists in that way. That's the future of the human race, biologically, spiritually, psychologically. And so imagine what it would take for you to work with your brain, your mind, your emotions, so that you can sustain that level of robust information all the time. When you embody the 0 point, that's the state that you allow in the body, because the 0 point is the state of non-judgmental observation, because all the most primitive aspects of ourselves are lost in judgment, again, separation, right? And so the gathering of that energy and the redirecting of that into non-judgmental observation allows your body to open up and expand energetically, so you can access those ranges of information. Imagine that those ranges of information, those downloads, are like the human spectrum of light and beyond. That's what those downloads look like. This guy's upside down. Been partying too much. Okay, so over here, right? So downloads, depending on the dimension in which you're connecting with, you're looking at higher bands, ultraviolet, gamma, cosmic rays. You're connecting to those ranges of frequencies. So these ranges of frequencies are connected to higher octave chakra system. Okay, so the more that you move Okay, so all of these ranges of frequencies that you're seeing here within the higher octaves of your body, the higher chakras. And so that's why I've been working with you for a couple of years, working all the way up to the 24th. You got to wake up. You have to wake up that memory. These chakras are holographic projection of your DNA. Every single one of these chakras. And God, this image is just confusing because it's not like they're separate balls of light outside of your body. We are talking about toroidal fields like this. This is what the chakras are. Each one of these toroidal fields is a chakra, a full chakra expression. Okay, so when you're looking at your energy body here, this is really what we're talking about. And I'm sorry, I guess it's very hard to draw this. I've tried a million times to draw this in a way that is easy to understand. But imagine these different colors of the rainbow are these toroidal. If somebody is an artist out there that can do artwork and can help me depict that, it would be fantastic. Let me know if you guys can do that. Every single one of these toroidal fields, you can imagine being color-coded by these chakras. And as you can see, they're nested within each other. They're nested. The energy's nested. It's a toroidal field that it's meshed, merging in with the other one. Okay? And so what happens in this case is that usually more commonly, people are operating between maybe 3 or 4 of these dimensions. That's why their energetic body, it's so small. It's so contracted, right? All they have is maybe the vision of survival. That's the capacity of their perception is basically survival. That's all they know. That's all they can see. That's all they can process. And whatever chakra is overactive in your body, that's the field that is most expanded in your energy system. So the more that we can work with these energy bodies and expanding into the energy bodies of the higher octave ranges, you are processing higher bands of frequency, higher bands of information. The Taoists talk about the 3 systems of energy, the Qing, the Shi, the Shen being a spiritual energy, which is the cultivation of the integration of Qing and Qi. Your principal energy, so again, first 3 chakras, your safety, your sexual energy, and your emotional bodies. The integration of those 3, which means the unblocking of the layers of that raw, pure energy. Everything that you need in order to feel safe is actually an expansion of that perception. Expansion, your expansion. We don't feel safe because we blocked our perception of safety. Our safety falls between A and B. Meanwhile, there's A to Z. Okay, so our expansion of our understanding of what it means to be safe is no longer, let's say, a physical thing. It's no longer the product of physical security. It incrementally begins to expand. It ranges for others become safe. Then it's like communities safe. Then it's like the world is safe. Then universal safe, So that's how our perception begins to expand. And so this kind of work in the sexual body, in the emotional body, is the integration of your Qing, your principal energy. And what that produces, the key to do that integration is through the heart, the Qi, pure life force. That's why love is the unifying force of everything. Because it's pure life force. It's in all things. And the gateway to love is compassion. So you compassionately grow your ranges of perception, your ability to feel broader bands of emotions. And from this integration, this is the alchemical marriage. Everything happens in 3s. Okay, so first three chakras, integration, then these chakras of the heart, the throat, and the third eye, because the heart is your love, your capacity to love, feel worthy in your body, unconditional love. Your throat, your communication, it's also the higher octave of sexual energy. It's feminine and masculine balance. And that balance is in your organs, in your cells, in the way that you walk, in the way that you hold energy in your body. Whether your awareness is more in feminine survival or masculine survival is all shown in your energy body. And then the third eye, which is your intuition, right? So if you are able to embody this love, balance the imbalance of your feminine, masculine, now you can open and see intuitively. You can begin to see, connect intuitively. So the integration of these three is done by the activation of these three, the utilization of the upper three. And the integration of all six produces the Shen, the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy emerges from that more and more each time. Every time you clean, integrate one aspect of here. And so this Shen, this spiritual energy, is unified, beginning to enter. Okay, let's talk about it in spiritual anatomy. Seventh and eighth chakra, which is where you start to recover the memory of your childhood memories and traumas, clean that up. Then you go into past lives and you're going to find all the same things. And when you look at lives, you're looking at long stroke themes, life themes. It becomes very apparent what were your themes, the themes of your life that you keep repeating. So let's say the theme of one life is unworthiness. You were just unworthy all the life long. You never understood, never could master worthiness in that lifetime. So your gateway to that is the unworthiness you felt as a child in this lifetime. Everything is here in this lifetime. Sometimes people come to me and say, you know, I don't have that trauma in my life. For some reason, I don't have, I have these blocks with money, with relationships, with my career. And I think it's somehow rooted to worthiness, but I know that in this lifetime, I don't have that blockage. I don't have that memory. I don't have that experience. And it's really interesting because sometimes we have sugar-coated our childhood. We believe that, you know, everything was great, everything was amazing. But again, all of this has to be destroyed. So in the same way that we have a perception of our child being horrible, some of us have this perception that our childhood was amazing. There's no problem. There's no reason why there should be anything wrong with you. But just give me 5 seconds and we can find the root in the memories. Because we see things as we're told, and then our perceptions are just, you know, we abide by whatever is being given. So the whole purpose of this is not to prove right or wrong, who's right, who was a good parent, who wasn't a good parent. The purpose is to understand the whole truth, your essence. You want to find your essence. Who are you? Not what mom or dad did or was or said or society. That's all this work is to find your essence. And that essence is whole and complete already. Again, as I mentioned. So, and anatomically, spiritually, the spiritual anatomy of what that looks like is that essentially these layers begin to shed, and it's a huge expansive range of frequency that is available to you. And so in the 7th and 8th, you start to remember your past lives. For me, the way that it happened is that I was able to move through hundreds of past lives within about an hour, because what it also comes down to, and I'm not saying this because don't use this as a cheat code of any way. Some of us are very eager to find answers, and we just want to apply these, what someone else did, just without fully experiencing and experimenting your way of doing it. So all of these little things are just guides and key points. You have to find your way. That's my invitation. But they came, what I realized is that in all my current life experiences, it all came down to the choice of two things. I'm either operating from fear and survival and separation, or I'm operating from love. And what was an absolute truth is that anytime I operated from fear, it resulted in more fear and more suffering. And every time I act from love, real love, unconditional, compassionate love, it is something productive, loving, and more love is found. That is an absolute truth. And you're going to find it in this lifetime and in other constructs. It doesn't matter how high dimensions you go. I've had lives in really advanced civilizations. It was the same. Why? Because the 13 dimensions down, they're all experiencing duality. Okay, so you have lots of past lives. Your past lives are organized within the dimensional layers of your body, which are memorized in your chakra system, which is a projection of your DNA. Okay, so your DNA blueprint is holding all access to all of that structure. And so what they came very quickly, those past lives, because I began to recognize the main theme of those past lives, and then why I was choosing fear instead of love. And so what it did is that alchemizing each one of those expanded my perception of what it was to love. As you look at all these experiences in your life, you are expanding your perception of how to love more expanded, how to love unconditionally. And so you're learning that. You teach yourself in your meditation by looking at your life experiences and where you held love. There's this beautiful quote: the love you withhold is the pain you carry lifetime through lifetime. It's one of the most spiritually expansive quotes I've ever heard in my life. I heard it very early on. And it was actually a quote that I came back to when I was deep in this work, looking to understand my way through these emotions. Because it's really powerful how the embodiment of love is the expansion of your perception. Okay, and finally, in this understanding of divinity, that every cell in your body is holding this memory, that as you ground and connect more to earth, because the earth is oscillating at a vibrational frequency of information. The earth has, it's the ancestral DNA. So if you're not grounded, you're basically making it more hard for yourself. You're making it more challenging than it needs to be. You're struggling because you're completely disconnected. The Mother Earth, it's called Mother Earth because the Earth's frequency holds you. It's a robust system of emotions, energy, and memory. And so your disconnect to the earth, basically, it's like, what are you searching for? You don't know. You have no idea. You have no source of understanding. And all that understanding comes from the earth. All that understanding, let me explain that better. You connect to the source of memory when you connect to the earth. The earth is holding all of your extension of memory because you're connected to the morphogenetic field. We're one with everything. So it allows you to access. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into the meditation and then I'm going to answer questions. Okay. Allow yourself to come into a state of relaxation. Inhaling deeply and exhaling. Go ahead and see the center of the earth and ground yourself down to the center core of the planet. Go ahead and bring yourself fully into the body. Go ahead and visualize a sphere around your body. That sphere is your whole aura, your energy body. Bring your awareness 360 degrees all around you, up, above, below, front, back, side to side. Go ahead and allow yourself to take now, focus on your root chakra at the base of the spine. You're going to shrink that chakra down to the size of a dime, front and back. Shrinking the root. Taking a nice deep breath, noticing what changes as you do that. Going up into the sacral, shrinking the sacral chakra down to the size of a dime. Disconnecting any imbalance in your sacral chakra. Go up into the solar plexus, shrinking the solar plexus down to the size of a dime. Taking a nice deep breath here. Let's go up into the heart, expanding the heart front and back. Expanding the throat. Expanding the third eye. Go ahead and visualize from the center of the earth a powerful wave of green earth energy that comes rushing up into your legs, to the base of your feet, absorbing like a straw up your legs into the solar plexus, creating a vortex of energy at your center core. Feel that earth energy rotating around your entire bubble, picking up the debris in the 13 dimensions of your body. If green feels difficult or too strong or too heavy or makes you sleepy, use gold. From source, you're going to pull down a powerful wave of cosmic energy coming down to the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with the green earth energy. Rotate that green and gold energy in your field, picking up all those block energies in all 13 layers of your body. Breathing. I'm going to take 10% of that back down to the center of the earth, consciously eliminating all the debris inside the 13-dimensional layers of your body. Imagine that you're sweeping from the crown of your head down to the base of the feet, all the way around, cleaning all the blocked, stagnant, dark, difficult to visualize energies in your field. Take your time and don't doubt what you feel. Wherever you feel blockages that feel like it's too much to work on, take your time and clear it out. You can use your imagination to help you visualize dissolving it into sand, into air, into water, and it just goes right down into the center of the earth. As you move through your body, let's go now take 80% of that green and gold energy at the center core, up your spine, from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your bubble, clearing your relationship with the matrix. You're now clearing your heart body, your throat, your third eye body, your intuitive body. So notice that the density of these blockages is slightly different as you move them out of these upper hemisphere of your body. Some blockages in the lower level might feel better moving up out through the crown of your head as opposed to down to the center of the earth. It's all about density and frequency. Okay, so right now you're cleaning your toroidal field. Remember, your toroidal field is spinning and moving. So as you're running the energy through the body, you're releasing all the blockages that block the fluid movement of your toroidal field. Go ahead and allow yourself to take the final 10% of that green and gold energy. You're going to absorb it into the body, into the skin, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cells of the body. Breathing. Take that energy into the body. You're going to visualize a powerful green and gold energy infusing into your toes, into the into the base of your feet, into your ankles, your shins, your calves, infusing into the cells of the body as if you're feeding your body love at the cellular level, the fascia, the muscles, the tendons, the bones, the ligaments of the body, the skin, moving up the body into the knees, into the thighs. Take care to use as much detail into all the little crevices of the body that we abandon, we forget about, into the sexual organs. Infuse this cosmic and earth energy. Large intestine, small intestine, spleen, pancreas, kidneys, stomach, liver, lungs, heart. Infuse your body with this. This is love, is source energy, and earth energy is pure love. Into your shoulders, your arms, your hands, into your face, your muscles of your face, into your hair. And we're going to take one breath here as we allow the energy to completely move through the body now that you're running it to the 3 dimensions of the body, the etheric, the physical, and the mental space. Run that energy, visualize your toroidal field, and just notice how it moves naturally. You're also going to be more aware now that you're in a reading state of where it's stagnant or blocked. Let's go deeper. I want you to go into your soul house. You're going to go into the first room in that house, which is your karmic contract room. These are all the agreements of experience that we create every moment of our day. Go ahead and allow yourself to dissolve those contracts that are there. Check the room for any dens, any kind of closets, hidden doors. Clear all that out. It's usually hidden doors and closets and dens are usually going into the deep subconscious and also past life memory contracts. It may or may not show for you. Okay, once that room is clear, you're going to fill it with your crown color. Let's go ahead and go up into the crown chakra. I want you to align the color of your higher self. Creative color. You're going to align your higher self with your career, with your family, with relationships, with health, vitality, abundance, money, truth, and your spiritual journey. And finally, your purpose. Okay, let's go into the next room where we see our enemies or people that don't have our best interest. Go ahead and eliminate these little shadows, entities, attachments, vampires, parasites. Clear them out. A very neutral place. When I say enemies, this is a very loose term. Just represents anyone that's not in alignment with us in terms of our deepest resonance. And since we have free will, we can use our free will to choose to no longer be in resonance with those things that don't serve us anymore. We're going to go deeper. I want you to begin to observe yourself over the past 24 hours, and I want you to notice what's the strongest trigger emotion that has come up for you. Take yourself there. Take a moment to look at that. Okay, narrow it down to one. Be absolutely present with the emotions in your body. Even if you don't know how to name them or you can't name them, just focus on the sensation, the part of the body that is contracted the most, holding that emotion, and name out the emotions and sensations in that part of the body. Be absolutely present with the strongest of this list. Once again, locate where in the body you feel that strongest emotion. Focus on that part of the body and name out the emotions that come up, that are inside of this emotion. Be absolutely present with this emotion. And just notice how familiar you are with this emotion that you feel. You're going to take yourself back to the first time in your life that you've experienced that. Go as far back as you can. You can go as far back as the womb if you need to. See yourself in that memory. It can be something recent, but then take yourself back to the very first time. Just observe what you're feeling in that moment, and I want you to ask yourself, is this my emotion or someone else's emotion? Who is there with me? Who is interacting with me? Just observe if that is your emotion. Or how much of this emotion is actually yours, and how much of it is something that we have taken on from someone else. Go ahead and feel into that emotion. to get a clear understanding of what it is what is the program that was created in this moment. If this emotion is not yours, notice whose it is. And just observe, why do they feel that way? It's as if you are remote viewing them in that moment. And you're going to get insights and knowing, because all of these memories are recorded in your morphogenetic field. As you observe this, you'll be provided with all kinds of insights as the nature of this program and this belief running down your ancestral lineage. And I want you to take a look and see, how are you repeating some of these same dynamics, belief systems, contractive behaviors. Begin to observe how you are repeating this in your life. Begin to ask yourself, are your belief systems that created in patterns of behavior, are they an ultimate truth? Is the reason why we play those out, the reasons that we give ourselves to play these beliefs out, is it true? As you begin to observe this, notice how these beliefs have impacted your life, how they are impacting your life, how they have impacted your life. Begin to observe yourself. Go ahead and see all the fractals of yourself that have been affected by this belief. See them in front of you in a crowd. Notice, what do they need in order to no longer repeat this pattern in their life? Gather your energy from all these experiences and fill them with exactly what they need. If you're unfamiliar with what they need, feel into the body the opposite of what you feel. So let's say the main theme of this is feeling of loneliness or unworthiness. The opposite of loneliness is connection. The opposite of unworthiness is worth, value, self-value. The opposite of fear is love. And gently begin to infuse these parts of you with this opposite emotion. And I want you to notice what emotions come up as you fill yourself up with this opposite emotion. Begin to observe the benefits of all these life lessons as you begin to observe the expansiveness that is available to you. Integrate that deeply as you merge all your fractals into one self in front of you. Take a look at yourself and what's different with you now. How have you shifted? Take a look at all of the people that were involved in your past memory and those experiences in a crowd in front of you. You're going to see long cords moving from your body to them. Cut the cords on their end and pull those cords out of your body. They might be connected to different parts of your endocrine system. Go ahead and release that. Remove that out of your space. Notice how this played out in the ancestral lineage. Clear that up as well. Call back your life force into your body. Release what does not belong to you. Allow yourself to integrate this new self in your body. Go ahead and focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine, opening the root chakra. You're going to spin it as fast as possible until it's crystalline clear. When I say clear, it can be whatever color you see there, just crystalline, like the chakra is open and unobstructed front and back in the roots. Go up into the sacral, open it back into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible, moving all the debris of the sacral. Going up into the solar plexus, opening it back into a balanced state, clearing all the debris of the solar plexus. Into the heart, bring the heart in, clearing all the blockages of the heart. The throat, bring the throat in, clearing all the blockages of the throat. In the third eye, I'm going to go up into your crown, spinning your crown, filling it with your creative color, going up into the 7th, the 8th, illuminating the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and above you is a powerful white light, a source. Go ahead and bring that source core down to the center core of your body, down to the center of the earth, holding that pillar of light at your center core. Turn the first 3 chakras underneath your body into the earth on, expand them, and create your pillar of light in the center core of your body, around the perimeter of the earth. Allow yourself to open your eyes, come back into the space, maintain grounded. Keep your field, your connection. Beautiful. You guys did amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. It was such an honor to share with you. I'm going to jump in to answer a couple questions. And you can put your questions in capital letters. Okay, Dawn is asking, shortly after an accident, my inner cells would shake. It was said it was my nervous system through therapy. It was called my inner child. I have a difficulty naming the emotions. It's a foreign language. Would plant medicine aid the connection process? No, because you see, plant medicine was used by shamans after many levels of initiation into the dream world, where they were already practicing to walk in the dream world lucidly, so consciously. And so the plant medicine is to expand and exercise that capacity to deepen that connection. Using plant medicine can completely take your integration process out of balance completely and further block you from the sensitivities of your emotional body with your physical body, because it's more like a interconnection to the field, more expansion. And you don't need more expansion right now. You actually need to deepen your connection first, to strengthen that connection with the body first. So here's the thing about this. We need to focus on the nervous system regulation, right? And so we would have to observe the emotions. And so I would pay attention on what are the emotions that feel most difficult to name. And what you're going to do is every physical sensation that you feel, because this is a physical thing that's also happening, turn that into an emotion. Another trick or another technique that you can use is turn the feeling. So let's say you have like a little tiny pain or just a discomfort here in this part of the body. Turn it into, you're going to name out that sensation. So if it's like a feeling that it's like a dull pain, it doesn't, that dullness, what emotion would that dullness be? It can be like numbness. It can be like denial. It could be like disconnect, abandonment. You see, feel into the physical sensations of the body that come up for you at any given time in your meditation. Even in waking state, you can practice this in order to begin to expand your language. And what I mean that by that is your awareness of your physical sensations is intuitive capacity. So also, it's that practice alone is going to repair your ability to understand and name out your emotions. Second thing that you can do is, let's say you feel an emotion and it feels like contracted or stuck. If it were a little character, like a cartoon, what would it look like? That's another really great way to work with these emotions. So let's say you have like a knot in your throat. Okay, what does that look like? It looks like this little skinny character with a tiny little thin wire throat. And feel into the character. The character is going to have facial expressions, going to be wearing certain clothes. Maybe some of them are missing half their bodies. Some of them are hunched over. Get a sense of what the need is, the core need of that little character. That character is a fractal of you. And it's basically a way to kind of manifest the physical blockages that are in the body. This is I use this technique. Actually, children are amazing at naming their emotions, but for some kids that are just starting out, this is an amazing technique. I also use it for mostly my elder clients that, as children, were told that they're not allowed to feel their emotions. So they're completely disconnected from their emotions. They don't know how to name them. They don't know how to describe them. So this is a technique that works fantastically. And so this little character is you. And what happens is, as you begin to name out the needs of that little being, you will also be shown what you need in yourself, and that will open up memories. And in the same way, in this DNA reprogramming, we looked at a memory, looked at an emotion, and begin to name it out. Okay. So yeah, when you say foreign language, you're talking about emotional language, right? Yeah. So this is something that we can cultivate, my love. We can cultivate this. It just takes some practice. And I want you to build to this capacity by every moment of your day being aware of yourself fully in your body and name out your emotions. Okay. So you're going to practice. So for example, right now, maybe you feel calm. Name it out, even if you already know that emotion. Next minute, you're starting to run late to something. You feel stressed. You feel afraid of rejection. Name out the thought that is behind what you're feeling. And so the more that you practice, you're going to start moving that emotional language in your body, and you're going to practice. And by the way, what you're experiencing is extremely common. I had that problem. And what I had to do, Dawn, is I had to take a list from the dictionary, create a master list of all the emotions. And I would have to sit with them, each one, and recognize what part of my body would respond with each emotion, because I was so disconnected. And I realized that even the emotions that I knew at that time, like anger, they were actually, I was playing out what I thought anger was supposed to feel like, what I thought anger was supposed to look like in my body. So I was so confused, right? So disconnected from my own emotions. And so little by little, when I learned this entire list of emotions, I began to notice, oh, this discomfort, I feel that too. And I feel that when this happens, and I feel that this triggers that. This person in particular triggers that, for example. Okay, so the work is beautiful. It's there for you. It's all available for you. So that's another way that you can also expand that. And literally in my meditation, I would grab the list and I would pinpoint the name that would match the sensation in the body. And so you're going to build a language. This is extremely common. Majority of people don't have this capacity. Okay. So yeah, amazing. Liza says, can the chakras blend into each other and change colors as we evolve, expanding and move into higher levels of consciousness? Yeah, so chakras don't have any specific color, okay? So we have this very simplistic concept of the chakra chart having specific colors, but the truth is your chakras will have the color of the frequency that you hold there. So, for example, in the root chakra, the chart says it's supposed to be red, right? But a lot of you find brown, some of you find orange down there, some of you find black, some of you can't even pick up a color there. And that all depends on how that chakra is moving. So the more fluid that chakra is moving in the body, okay, the more the colors will change. So will they blend into each other? It's never it's energy, so it's ranges of frequency, it's band waves of frequency. So they're never entirely separate and they're never entirely merged. It's like an ombre, I guess is a word I can say. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. Okay, so spectrums of frequency. One color, one energy is by frequency incrementally moving into the next dimension. So that's kind of how these energy bodies are. So the chakra color does change. It's going to change even hourly. It can change depending on what you're doing. So one moment you're in peace, next minute you're super angry. All the chakras are moving. Everything's changing. The way that your chakras look when you're in a state of peace is very different than the way the chakras look when you're angry. Okay. And so what you're going to be pushing also, in the same way that we talked about the language of emotions, it's the same with color. And that's another thing, Dawn, I'm also going to add to that. Maybe it's easy for you to see color because colors match emotions. Okay, because again, they're frequencies. So it might be that you feel red. I have clients that only see colors. They can't speak out the emotion themselves. So they feel a blue dot here, or they feel a green spot here. That's telling you something. The green has a color. Green is it has duality. Every color, every frequency has a dualistic aspect. So, for example, green on the lower side is unworthiness, right? Blocked ability to love, contraction of love. On the higher side, it's expansive states of love, unconditional love, worth. This is simplifying, but it's an example of how you can use color to gauge your emotions. In the same way, you can use that color to identify how energy is moving through the chakras. Now, however, the self-organizing system of the chakra is organizing those colors by frequency. So usually your body will ask you what it needs. So sometimes, in the root chakra, you feel that you need a gold. So that's a very neutral energy. And when you put gold into the root chakra, it starts to balance and starts to reveal a more balanced color. And eventually you will see reds and something, it's called a rainbow body, that all of these colors, when they're balanced, when the chakras are balanced, they do create a certain frequency that it looks like a rainbow. It looks like a rainbow. Okay, but I cannot confirm that the colors that we're seeing in the body for everyone is going to be the same. And I know that's a hard thing to look at because as you're asking, Liza, the higher the dimension you go, the density of the frequency that is in those chakra bodies also changes. Okay, so it might be this range of rainbow colors, but it also might change. It might be slightly different based on how you're holding the frequency. In the Hindu religion, I believe, in the Buddhist practices, they talk about the rainbow body. The rainbow body is basically when all the chakras are organized. And that is what happens when all the chakras come into harmony. When the feminine and masculine aspect of the chakra comes into harmonic order, feminine and masculine, each of the chakras, they do produce a frequency that is sustaining one vibrational frequency cleanly, undisturbed. And so that will create a color. And that's why we have the concept of the chakras as individual colors, red, orange, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the rainbow body is produced by self coming back into harmonic order, which means self-organizing all the confusion of energy, which means balancing of feminine and masculine imbalances in each of the chakras that produce that core raw frequency of the energy in that place. So in the lower chakras, the principal energy is self-organizing from lowest to highest, and that energy has a color. And so that's why we see the rainbow of the chakra system as red, orange, blah, blah. I hope that's clear. Okay, thank you for what you do. Love you, Margot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Deepest gratitude, Sharon. Thank you. Very beautiful. Don says, what is the noises I hear when meditation sounds like electric static and bells? Yeah, interesting. So usually this happens when there's a disconnect between being fully in the body and leaving the body. So I would not focus on grounding. I would focus on making sure that you're fully in the body. Sometimes we're like halfway there, but we're not really aware of our toes. We're not aware of our heels, of our body. Be fully in the body, feel fully the body, and then enter into the meditation. And so these noises are just frequency shifts in the body, pressure changes in the body. It's not something to worry about or fear. It's just you need to get used to being fully in the body, and little by little, you're going to expand the capacity of holding these energies. Usually these sounds happen when there's a disconnect. So that's why I want to focus on grounding. Okay. Why do I have body dysmorphia? I can't stand my flesh. I have had God and angel contact, and coming back into my physical is always so awful. Okay, my love. So, Laura, I would work with emotions around disgust and hate. I would work around everything that is disgusting to you, because disgust is one of the most interesting emotions that we have. And it was one of the most profound aspects of healing that I experienced. That when we embody the feelings of disgust, you're going to notice this is disgust towards your physical burping, gas, for example. In our society, everything is inverted. So we look at that and we're like, gross, ew. And yes, the odors are unpleasant, can be unpleasant, usually more unpleasant when the body is out of harmony, right? When the body is toxic, when we have a lot of putrefaction going on in the intestines. So remember that your body and the expression of your body is an expression of how you are holding balance and how you hold your nervous system, how you're digesting, how you're processing energy and emotions, thoughts through your body. So what I've noticed with this work is that the more you come back into your authentic self without resistance, without fear, all of these symptoms of the body begin, the symptoms of illnesses, the symptoms of imperfections, or these kinds of things that we perceive as imperfections come more into a balanced state. Okay. So that being said, look at your feelings around disgust, because we need to work with the rejections that we have towards our natural expressions. Literally work with your dislike towards, even when you go to the bathroom. I noticed in my meditations that every time I go to the bathroom, it would be like, I just want to get out of there as quick as possible, right? And so that's a disconnect for the body. A lot is happening in your nervous system. A lot is happening in your mind. You have all kinds of thoughts that you are impure. I found that even in my own self, in my own deep work. And when I changed that, my digestive system changed. Okay. So, I would go to the bathroom, I would be with myself, fully present. And when you're fully present, the body can work in its optimum state. It can function properly. We interrupt natural functions of the body because of our thoughts and our judgments towards our own body. It's the same with dysmorphia of your body. Okay. So work in all the parts of you that you hate and you disgust and you don't like, let's say the shapes of the body, whatever. Work with the emotions that are there. There's going to be pain. There's going to be shame. You're going to notice that a lot of your hatred towards natural parts of yourself, they are adopted by society and also are how we were raised. Okay. So perhaps in our family, if you weren't pretty, you weren't loved. or if you weren't perfect, or if you weren't thin. Okay. That's something that's very strong in our societies, that if you don't look like a certain way, you're not good enough. And so we've had that ingrained. That's the inversion of the divine feminine for centuries. And that is an iteration of the rejection of the feminine divinity, which is your intuition and your spirituality, by the way. So it goes really deep when you go into the deeper layers of this. But all that rejection towards your natural, raw expression, whether you're a man or a woman, it's a reflection of how you reject your spiritual self. It's a rejection of how you reject your whole self. And so incrementally work with those emotions and get down to the core. So what I did after that work is I started to do mirror work. And you're going to stand in front of the mirror. First, you do your face. You're just going to look at yourself in the eyes, and you're going to begin to see lots of different little faces, even faces of demons, faces of scary things, because your face is going to start to change as you watch yourself in the mirror. And what you're looking at is the different layers of emotions that have been memorized in your energy body, in the muscle memory of your face. It's really powerful. And I would even get anxiety when I would see some of those faces. They were faces of anger, faces of hate, of unworthiness, of past lives. I saw faces of a man, faces of someone tortured. These things are going to come up. You're holding all of that emotional tension in your body, in your mind, in your subconscious. And so you're going to keep that practice until you can look at yourself as you really are. And it's amazing that once you get past those masks that you're wearing, is a true essence that you see. And this is a cultivation of self-love that is very powerful, rewiring your brain. You're going to do the same with your body. Okay, so you stand naked in front of the mirror, and all those feelings of discomfort that you feel looking at yourself, you're going to work with that. You're going to sit with that emotion. It's going to burn in there. It's going to feel like, I want to run away. You're going to close your first three chakras, open your first three chakras, sit with the emotion, name them out one by one, get to the root, take yourself back to that, when that first started. And you might notice you adopted mom's insecurity, dad's insecurity, friends' insecurity at school. It's not really who you think you are. And you want to find that essence, and you want to amplify the emotional understanding of the essence in the now, which looks at everything as divine. Everything is divine. And so, and again, when I talk about purity, purity doesn't mean perfection. Purity means raw state, most authentic raw state, untouched, undisturbed, unmanipulated. So can you embody your raw state? That's the embodiment of actual self-love. Okay. And and so this is also part of like spiritual maturity. You mature through that rejection towards the whole self, little by little. Imagine even just, and now every part of you becomes divine. So let's say you burp, for example, you don't realize how some of us, we contract, or we react. Everything matters. It matters. It's not, you become desensitized. That's why you don't think it matters. It matters. And so now you connect with your body, and you're so connected that you understand why you needed to burp, or why that happened. It's just a different relationship with your body that is more sacred, more connected, and nothing happens randomly. Every expression that your body has or makes or form that you're taking is a representation of belief systems. I have some clients that they have packed on layers on their body in order to protect from judgment, or from emotions, or to protect from sexual abuse. Okay. I also have other clients that have just become skeletons in order to annihilate themselves because they feel unworthy. Nobody wants to hear them. Nobody cares about them. They believe, right? Their family doesn't care about them. And so we have to work through those perceptions. Your physical body is a reflection of a lot of deep belief systems. Okay. How can we build better discipline in our practice? I struggle with consistency. Thank you. Yeah, discipline is something that you know, how I learned to be disciplined is love. Okay. It's an act of self-love, and that requires maturity, and it requires a sobering understanding of how much you're suffering without your awareness every day. You've basically become desensitized to your own suffering. That's why we don't value things like meditation. We don't really realize the impact of our thoughts in our everyday life. And so, you know, for the average human, it's like, it's okay. When I get to it, I'll do it. But you don't realize how much destruction you're causing in your life. You know, even you go to work, you feel uncomfortable because someone said something. That's not good for your body, you see? So the awakened person, real conscious awakened person, is not to be aware of complex concepts of the universe. It's the person that pauses before they feel something that is not in alignment with their truth. And so your ability to access that, you know, your whole truth every moment, that's the real work. That's the real awakening, the real awake person that is catching and saying, hey, I don't deserve to feel unworthy because that person looked at me funny. I don't deserve that. What is true? Their actions don't define my worth. That is the ultimate truth. What is the ultimate truth? I'm worthy in my innate expression, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm not doing. That is the ultimate truth. And so that's how you align with harmonic order. And so as you align those truths and you reinforce that way of being, that's the restructuring of your whole geometric system in your body. It's the restructuring of your conductivity. It's the moving of your field. It's the opening of the pathways of life force in your body. That's the actual awakening. So love, in other words, maturing into that deep understanding that you are worthy of that. How will we earn money in the future? Doing what you love and what is most exciting and in harmony with you. Not from a place of escape. And I want to be very clear because I hear this all the time. My clients come to me. I was told that I need to chase my passion. Okay, well, where's your passion coming from? Is it coming from the escape of your marriage? Are you tired of taking care of your kids, 16 hours a day, and you just want to do whatever it is to not deal with that? Are you in denial of your emotions and trying to feel pleasure because you don't know how to process the pain of losing a partner? Okay, so all of that has to be worked out for you to really understand what is your passion. Your passion emerges from love, based on the fact that you understand what love is. Love is not an emotion. Love is a deep reconnection and being present with yourself so that you meet your needs proactively. And so if your passion doesn't meet your needs, your basic needs, you're not loving yourself. Okay? So it changes the things. Okay? And however, as you're healing, as you're understanding, I need to be creative in my life. Creativity makes me feel, joy, happiness, expansiveness. Okay, we make time to embody creativity. And actually, humanity was designed for creativity. So we're not designed to be working in cubicles for someone else. We're not designed for that. Okay, and that is going to change in this world. What the human is designed to do is to be connected with nature, to be intuitive, to be observant, to be connected to the world, to the earth. It is designed to create. And true inspiration to creation comes from that love of the self. So those are the kinds of when that turns into a job and it then merges with service, it's something that's good for the human race. Amazing. You expand on that love. Your cup is so full it overflows. That's where money comes from. And the way that you earn money anytime is when you come from that overflowing, when you are of service to others, when you have learned to serve yourself. So not even in the future, just right now, abundance comes when you are in that deep connection. All right, guys, thank you so much for beautiful questions. I don't see any more questions, but love you so much. Oh, Mark Sanchez, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate that, you guys. Your super chats help me tremendously, so I'm so thankful to you. Love you. Astrid says, sometimes after cutting cords in meditation with you, we go to another room with figures of those who had destructive influences on us and we dissolve them as well. Is that the same thing as cutting cords? It's not the same act. You want to cut cords with anyone that you are throwing energy back and forth at unconsciously. So it can be anyone. It can be our children. It can be our partners, our family. So we have to clean that up. It's that way we're always in the present moment and we can start fresh all the time. So clean that energy up, call back your life force. That's a daily practice, separate from the beings in that room, which are, they may or may not be separate. Some of those people that are closest to us might not have our best interest. Let's say if we're in an abusive relationship, right? So cleaning that out will help move along those kinds of blocked contracts. Okay. Ozzy, thank you so much. Ozzy Angie, thank you for your super chat. Thank you very much, my love. Philip St. John, thank you for that super chat for grounding before my performance. Oh, yes. Good luck, Philip. We send you a lot of energy for your show. Do an amazing, amazing time. Congratulations, David. David Bryan, thank you for that generous super chat. I'm so grateful. Guys, thank you so much. I love you. I hope you guys have happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you guys. If you guys just spend time with family, you are my family. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for everything that you share with me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. All right? All my love. See you soon.